Hey everyone, this is Chris. Welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about the news and other things, and because you know what, we can. Also, if you're new here, my name is Chris, and it's to help you navigate and grow. So let me start with this. This is Coinbase. It's up 11% today, and if you can tell me what Coinbase is doing on a daily basis, I mean, please tell me, because we could have made 20% on the short side yesterday. We could have made 10% today. Let's see what happens tomorrow. It's like Coinbase roulette. And, I guess always bet on green or no, with Coinbase, always bet on black. No, it's not like that. Okay, evidently though, Kathy Wood and the team, they haven't been doing so good with their gambling on Coinbase. They sold a bunch of shares yesterday, 1.41 million shares, which is kind of nuts. The stock tanked 21%. Now it's up today, and who knows what they're doing over there at Coinbase, and who knows what they're doing over there with Kathy Wood and the team. Coinbase is under investigation by the SEC. The basic gist of it is that are these things, cryptocurrencies, are these assets or securities, and it matters in terms of taxes, and it matters in terms of which government body are regulating these things. There's also an issue too with possible insider trading and stuff at Coinbase. So for me, it makes the stock untouchable. I wouldn't be messing with this thing, and Kathy Wood's feeling the same, but who knows? We could be making 20% a day on that thing if you tell me what it's going to do. Please tell me. Also news is Ford had a good earnings report. They're making money. They're selling cars. Everything's going okay over them. They are supported by the government. They're also a union shop. Basically, the government is saying, hey, everyone, we're going to help car companies that are unions. Tesla is not a union company, so I don't agree with that policy, but it is what it is, but I really get it. But, at the end of the day, Ford is not a bad stock. They're doing okay. However, on the other side, though, Facebook is not a great stock as it seems. Now, it's not terribly expensive, right? So it's like cut in half of what it was. I think it was like in the 300s. Now it's like in the 150s. So it's definitely much cheaper than it was, okay? You're not buying the top. However, ad revenue is slowing down, and revenue as a whole is slowing down. I was looking at their numbers. Diluted earnings per share is down 32% from last year. That's a lot, guys. Facebook isn't what it used to be. And we saw Snap and Twitter take some dives. Also, too, there's been a lot of weird reports of employees at Facebook have been saying that Zuckerberg's been acting strange and that he really loves the metaverse. I don't really get the whole metaverse thing. I don't want to wear the goggles. I don't play Roblox. I'm just too old. So if you really believe that metaverse is going to be the thing, and you believe that all this investment into the goggles and that kind of stuff is cool, then go for it. I don't think it's a terrible company, but it's hard for me to think that. I don't know. I'm not seeing it myself. And the other thing is like TikTok, they're coming on like gangbusters. I'm too old for TikTok. Whenever I look at content on TikTok, I'm just like, what the heck are these kids watching? That's how I feel about that. So I'm on YouTube, so you guys already know my feelings on that. But you never know. Meta could come out and say that, hey, Instagram is going to do the new Reels thing, and they're going to be better than TikTok. We'll see. Instagram is wildly popular, and I have Instagram. My wife has Instagram. We like it, but Facebook, I'll be honest, I don't really use it all anymore. It's just, I don't know, it's just a bunch of people fighting over politics, basically. Although, to be fair, Facebook Marketplace is pretty good. You can buy and sell stuff on that thing. So, it's not, I don't think it's going away, but the investment in the metaverse is sort of what I question. So I'm not a huge fan myself, but it's not going away yet. The Fed is raising interest rates. We talked about that at lunch, and just sharing it with you again. And then basically the market shot up because Powell's like, hey, I don't think we're in a recession, and hey, we may not be raising interest rates again. But, who knows what they're doing over there. I think there is a possibility. Now, they're not supposed to be like this. They're not. The Fed is supposed to be a separate entity than, say, the White House, the government. It's supposed to be separate, essentially. But I think there might be pressure on the Fed from the White House to like paint a rosier picture for midterm elections. I think there's a possibility in that, because I feel like we're in recession. I've already said this before, and I just don't know what Powell's smoking over there. I don't know. He could be right, and we could all be idiots. It could be a thing. For me, I go to the grocery store, I go to the gas station, everything's expensive. I see people are getting laid off. I think it's going to get worse myself, and I see interest rates going up. So I don't know what you guys are all talking about over there at the Fed. I don't know. I think we're going to recession, and the market is just so funky. The market's too funky for me. Best Buy is also struggling. We talked about this before, so this has to do with the same thing with the Walmart was basically, and we talked about this for, I guess, the last year. During the pandemic, we all bought 55-inch screen TVs. We all did Zoom calls on our new computers that we bought from HP and Apple and other companies. And we all watched Netflix on our new 55-inch screen TVs. We're not going to buy another TV again, maybe for another couple of years. So then people aren't really being going to Best Buy so much. That's basically it in a nutshell, right? How often do you need to buy a TV? And that's a question I'm posing for you. And I'm curious, did you buy the 55-incher? And when do you think you would upgrade again? Now, when I see the new TVs, and I got a new monitor recently as well. Man, these new monitors, these new TVs, these new computers, everything's like awesome. And it's like the best stuff I've ever had. And I don't think I need to upgrade for quite a while. So until 8K becomes like a little bit more affordable, because I just don't see myself spending $12,000 on a TV. But that's just me. Everyone may have a different opinion on that. And this is sort of the thing that I'm thinking that Best Buy may struggle for a couple years if indeed the economy goes in recession and we've all bought our new TVs. We don't need to buy another. So unless you're putting a 55-inch TV in every room, or maybe you want a 55-inch monitor / TV in every room to show off your NFTs that you got during the crypto run-up. But maybe that's the thing. But I don't think so. I don't think so. And I think Best Buy, many of these type of retailers are gonna struggle. Also, too, Pelosi's planning a trip to Taiwan. And this is a question I pose to you, because Pelosi's always a fun figure. People irrationally love her or irrationally hate her, but they have strong opinions about her. And the question I pose to you, for those of you who hate Pelosi, who do you hate more, China or Pelosi? Yeah, it's a tough one, right? Because basically, she wants to go visit Taiwan, and the Chinese government's like, don't visit Taiwan. Taiwan is not a country. You can't go visit Taiwan. Taiwan is part of China. And the Taiwan people, and I have a lot of friends from Taiwan, this is actually a real thing. They get confused. People at the airport get confused of where they're from. They can't fly their flag at the Olympics. And basically, other countries won't recognize them as being a country because China, mainland China, puts a lot of pressure on other countries to not recognize Taiwan as a country. So when the U.S. sends a delegation over there, it's not officially recognizing Taiwan, but it's saying, hey, we're going to do business with you or whatever. The other thing, too, as well, is that Pelosi is not the only American that's ever been there. Republicans have been to Taiwan in the past. So for those of you who hate Pelosi, just be real. This is something I always emphasize with anyone. Doesn't matter what side you're on, is just be real about politics, right? Look at facts, look at things that both sides have done or both parties have done, and don't say, oh my God, one side is always right, and oh my God, one side is always wrong. So, in fact, with the Pelosi situation, I think it's an interesting one, and I'm curious with people like, man, I hate everything Pelosi says and does, but I hate China too. So for me, I think we should ignore China and just do whatever we want to do. Pelosi also too is inviting other members of Congress to go. We'll see. The argument against would be we shouldn't provoke China, whatever, and we should just bow to them because we do business with them. And you guys already get the sense of how I feel about that. I think that from an American standpoint, that we should be establishing ties with India or Vietnam, say Taiwan, Malaysia, et cetera, and sort of cutting our ties with China. We can still do business with China because we have to, because they have a bunch of people over there, and we like to sell Apple Watches to them. Believe me, I get it. But there are other countries in the world, and this is sort of why China has so much power, because they are such a big nation. They have such economic power, and countries don't want to piss them off, essentially. So it's always a juggling act in international relations. And one of the things I just want to mention to you guys that's always bothered me about American politics: most Americans vote on domestic issues and have very little understanding of international issues, when in fact, international issues are very, very important. Currency rates, who we're friends with, who we're not friends with, et cetera. And also too, when you meet people from said countries, like I went to college, lot of friends from Taiwan, and anyone who's been to school, you'll probably have met some Taiwanese people. And I hope that we can all settle this thing peacefully, but I don't necessarily want to have our government just bow to a Chinese communist party. It's not something that I want, right? The same thing that, like, if Russia tells us what to do, are we going to follow? No, we're not. I am a strong proponent of democracy and free speech for everyone. And the question becomes, are we going to go over to war, these kind of things? So that's a different issue, and hopefully we can avoid all conflict. But at the moment, I think she's going. We'll see how this turns out. It could just be a bunch of saber rattling by both sides, but there is a real possibility that China could invade Taiwan by 2025 or something like that. People have asked me about that before. It's a possibility. You never know what they're going to do. I didn't predict necessarily that Putin was going to invade all of Ukraine. I thought maybe he would attack part of it, but not all of it. And, who knows? I don't think China has a capacity to attack or successfully invade Taiwan now, but maybe in the future, in a couple of years, it's certainly a thing. And China has been building sea bases in the region. So I'm Vietnamese, you guys know this, and the Vietnamese have fought the Chinese for centuries, essentially, and do not want to get taken over by Chinese. This is something that the Chinese essentially always wanted to expand into Vietnam. That's a long discussion, but it's a real thing, though, that China doesn't want to expand. They like to pretend like they don't want to, but they do. And, China's been expanding their influence into Africa. So, I'm not hating on Chinese people at all. I love living in China. A lot of friends in China, and it's a great place to visit. And I encourage anyone out there to go visit China. It's a great place to visit. And I get upset thinking that there could be a war. So, we'll see. It's a tough one, right? Do we bow down to the Communist Party or not? And I don't think we should. That's my opinion. And that's why I pose the question: who do you hate more, the Chinese government or Pelosi? So that's for people who are on the irrational side. But I do think this is an important issue. And Taiwan makes a lot of chips, and Taiwan Semiconductor is important. And if we're kind of nervous about if we should do business with Taiwan, if we're going to just follow China and do whatever they say. Irregardless, though, developing our own semiconductor industry is a good thing for our own national defense, for sure. We need to make our own chips, not depend on China or Taiwan. But one of the things is that we I don't know. I don't necessarily want to see the world just fallen under autocratic and communist rules. So I'm not saying we should get into a Cold War. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying we should go to war at all costs. But I don't think necessarily we should withdraw from the world. So this is a complicated issue, international politics. And, the case that I always make for this is that just, if you live in a neighborhood and your neighbor's house is burning, would you go over there and help them? That's sort of the general argument. But obviously it's more complicated than that. But it's, because there's some people out there that say, oh, well, let's just bring everybody home and forget about the rest of the world. It doesn't really work like that. Also, too, is I'm well aware that we're involved in things that we shouldn't be. So that's why I always state several times on the channel, I don't think we should be buying oil from Saudi Arabia, and I don't want to buy oil from Russia. And in fact, segue into another topic is solar energy. Man, Enphase Energy has been going nuts, the stock. And I've been telling you on this channel for a long time, if you guys watch my productivity videos, getting jobs in alternative energy is a real thing. That's going to be a lot of opportunity. So definitely, if you're looking for a job, because a lot of people are going to be getting laid off, get something in alternative energy. That'll be good for the future. Cybersecurity is going to be good for the future. Data, anything with data, nurses and healthcare is good for the future as well. But today, man, Enphase Energy was just taking off. It trades at a high PE ratio, and the stock is extremely volatile. So, you can see it for yourself in the last year. It is up 40%, but it is up and down. I would expect it to cool off a little bit tomorrow. And it's kind of funny. In the last 5 years, it's up 26,000%. And, I don't know why. Well, I do know why, because the market is silly. You got a lot of fanboys out there for Tesla, and, I like to kid the Tesla people. But, let's be real, guys. If you're, if you love Tesla, and those fanboys are for Tesla, and in the last 5 years, Tesla's up, say, 1,000%, and you're like, oh my God, Tesla's the best pick of all time. That's just so awesome. Tesla, right? Why don't we talk about Enphase? It shows you how irrational people are. Just looking at numbers, I can clearly see if, you got an Enphase up 26,000%, it's a pretty good investment. So, but that just shows you that, people are irrational, and they don't necessarily, what's the right word to say? They don't necessarily just talk about like numbers. They kind of go with their irrationality, love of Elon Musk and other things like that. So there's a lot of opportunity in this world if you're willing to look at it. And I'm not saying Enphase Energy is the buy today, but I'm just saying that there's more of the world than just Tesla. Look at this, 26,000%, which is crazy. The P ratio of this thing is trading high, but I do think there's going to be a lot of opportunity in alternative energy. So we'll see if it's Enphase, if it continues its run, and we'll also look at other ones as well. So I do always appreciate everyone's time, and hopefully this is useful, helpful for you. You get to hear my little bit of political ramblings and some stock stuff as well. And we'll be doing this daily. And also write in the comments, did you get a 55-inch TV? And will you be going to Best Buy anytime soon? I'd love to hear your thoughts if you think Best Buy is coming back. So I think that's a fun one to talk about. So thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you next time.